Here in today's video, it's going to be more of my opinion and, a breakdown of why these Battlefield 6 maps are very important for a more successful future of Battlefield as a game, of course, Battlefield 6, and as a franchise in total. With a lot of these maps, like, I have this overwhelming feeling that they would fit and they would play so much better in a Call of Duty game. You might say why. This map does not, these maps, most of these maps, not like Eastwood. Like, I really love Eastwood, but a lot of them feel like they just are meant for an 8v8 or a 16 versus 16, like ground war Call of Duty. But then, like, the maps are built out for those number of players, and then we're going 32 versus 32. So that's kind of why you feel like every time you run out or you try to push an objective, you literally feel like you're getting shot at all the time. Almost reminds me of some of those maps on Modern Warfare 2019, like where Warzone came out. It reminds me of that, like where I'm always getting shot at. Like, I don't mind a fast-paced game. Like, I still have tons of fun on this game. But you gotta remember, it's taking away from the Battlefield formula because, Battlefield formula is, using jets, helicopters, using, helos, Humvees, and just vehicles to traverse and to, go around the map. And right now, people don't even really use vehicles that often for the most part. People just run to the objectives. You have multiple maps. Like, this map is like, it feels so small. Like, it's not even funny. It feels like a domination map of ground war off of like Call of Duty, but then you're sticking 64 players in there, and it almost feels like insane. It's like it's feeling like a COD pace where, honestly, I don't really like it. I don't mind COD, but if I wanted that COD type of pace or mapping that they have, I would just go to Call of Duty. There's a reason why I haven't gone to Call of Duty in a long time. They lost their way a very long time ago. So I'm really hoping that this series doesn't try to follow that trend. Just because Call of Duty is doing bad doesn't mean they can't recover and do a great game next year. And if you're pissing off the Battlefield community and the COD players don't even like you copying their game and they're not playing it, and you're also pissing off the old school Battlefield players that has supported you when Call of Duty was a juggernaut at some point, So, copying the COD map and pace is just never going to make, a great Battlefield game because you're going to take away more of the vehicle play and, airplay as well, because a lot of these maps don't even like allow you to like really traverse the map with helos and jets. Like, I feel like pretty much all the maps should literally be like, especially in Conquest and Breakthrough and all that, they should be big enough to basically have airplay, lots of vehicles, tanks, all that stuff going on. But then you have so many maps like these that just don't flow very well. And if you want to look at a really great example, look at this map. And I think the other one's Manhattan Bridge. They're directly on the opposite side from each other. Like, I think if you combine these two maps, which I think was in the plans originally, because they're directly opposite from each other, where like if you connected these maps, they would perfectly align, and then the bridge will literally take you over to them. And, that leads me to the other thing of they took out boats. Like, I didn't even know boats and, boat warfare was like a thing. Because what you can do is, like, imagine with Battlefield, you can use a helo or, C4s to destroy the bridge to make it harder to get to the other side where the other objectives are, forcing you to use boats. I mean, like, think about how, like, one giant map with those two maps combined would flow on top of having, the boats. I mean, man, I think that would be beautiful. I saw some clips of it, and it feels like that's what Battlefield's formula is. And it, I'm newer to the franchise, so I never got to experience those OG games really. But from the looks of it, it looks way more fun than what we got here, honestly. And you just don't want to piss off both sides of the player base, Call of Duty and Battlefield players. Because even though you're very successful right now, if Call of Duty makes a semi-decent game next year, you're going to have a lot of people going over to them, possibly. You never know. If they make good maps, and turn off the skill-based matchmaking, which I don't think they'll ever do. But you don't really want to risk that. I want to see this franchise, take over, the arcade military FPS genre permanently. So if they're gonna do that, they really need to work off of maps like Eastwood and expand upon it and just bring better, bigger maps. That's all we want. And like I said in other videos too, what would be a beautiful thing is if they can just bring like reworks like Rainbow Six Siege does. That's beautiful because you don't even have to waste these maps. Let's say if the original plans were to combine these two New York maps together, if they get enough feedback, maybe they'll just make it one big map. And maybe like they'll be separated only if you pick like squad deathmatch and domination, like those Call of Duty game modes basically. But if you're picking like conquest like I like to pick, or breakthrough, or any of those modes, it's automatically gonna be the one big map. I feel like that's a fair balance where both parties are gonna be happy, including the OG player base, which is the most important player base you gotta take care of. Because like when a new Call of Duty comes out, if you're trying to copy COD and get those people, they're gonna go right back to Call of Duty, honestly, because you're halfway copying another game and it's not gonna feel the right way when you should just be sticking to what brought you to the party, man. Just chaos, warfare, boats, jets, helos, Humvees, and just, let people have fun. But I loved Eastwood. I played it at least like 2-3 times. I'm gonna play it some more, but bro, I was literally running around, I think for like a minute or two, and I felt like more inclined to start taking vehicles, and it encourages people to play Battlefield like you're supposed to play a Battlefield game. So that just speaks volumes. This again coming from a new player, so it definitely made me want to take, hop on tanks or hop in different vehicles with teammates. Because most of the time, like, you don't really have to. You just pull your knife out and you run like 30-40 meters and you're right there. Forget, I think it's Manhattan Bridge, I believe it's called. I'm not sure, or I'm talking about the other map. But there's basically like a B objective where it's like one of these very, very tall buildings. And I've done it before. I'm able to look at C, Bravo, and no, not Bravo. Bravo's the building objective, and then it looks down on like Delta, Charlie, and I just don't get it, bro. Cause like when I heard of Battlefield, all I heard about was, large scale warfare, right? But then when I hop into it, I'm getting pelted with bullets faster than I did in some Call of Duties I played. So it's very confusing, but I would love for them to put those two maps together. I think that would be amazing. I think it would be like an instant. I don't know if these were older maps, I don't know, but if these are fresh maps, they put it together, I would say that's almost like an instant classic. Like these two maps together. I'm not sure if they could really add in boats. Like I think like animations for interacting in the water are there, but they're not fully there. So it seems like they had plans on doing something with water, having boats or people interacting with the water to traverse the map in some type of way. But for some reason, I don't know, it got scrapped, or they didn't have enough time for it. But the beautiful part about Battlefield though is I think they're usually on somewhere around like a 3 to 4 year life cycle. So I'm pretty sure it's something they can add on to the game. At least I hope so. Because if they're able to do that, it would make the game way better. And if we're getting nothing but bigger maps, and I even heard in like the review like changes where they're considering it, or it's like high on their list, was reworking the map sizes. So maybe they are thinking about doing something like adding extra sections into certain maps, maybe combining different maps together to make them bigger, and just listen to us. And also maybe copying some of what the community does in the portal, something like that. Of course, compensate the people who made the maps or whatever, but they pulled out like some section of the Red Sec like Battle Royale map, and man, it flowed just like a old school Battlefield conquest map, So I would love to see them do something like that. The community can literally make money for doing something that they love off of portal mode. That's a win-win, The community gets to make money, grow a closer connection to DICE, and make a better game. I don't see any like downsides in doing that. So I believe Bethesda has done something like that, where If you guys make mods and you post it in the mod shop, people buy it, you get like a nice little cut. But yeah, hopefully this is something they could add. So, I'll catch you guys in the next video.